Okay, I hope everybody's doing well. So with that, I open up for questions.
Andre, what did you think about the way Kenny Willekes stepped into the role and had to play quite a bit against the Ravens?
No, I was very pleased. He did the things in the game that I told you guys I've been seeing in practice. Um, he played at a different tempo pretty much than anybody else on the field. So I don't know how you could not notice him. It's too bad his one sack got taken away, on the penalty because he would have had 1.5 for the game. Um, but you got to see him run and make plays down the field. And so I really liked his energy. So hopefully he can build on that and keep growing, this week in our game.
In that same vein, what did you think of DJ kind of stepping into that starting lineup again and how
He did good. DJ makes a lot of plays in the running game. I mean, I don't. They made the call on the horse collar. That was a big play. To me, he had him on the 8 number and not up on the name plate, which is supposed to be the rule, which caused the fumble. It was a big game-changing type play. So I'm very pleased with, how DJ's playing the run game. I just got to continue to get him to let it loose as a pass rusher. He's thinking too much, and he's rushing by the numbers, and he's not doing that as a run player. As a run player, he's just letting his athleticism show and go attack his guy and play football. And that's what he has to do as a pass rusher. He's trying to be too perfect. And that's a lot of times young guys go through that. So we'll keep working with him on that to get him to improve that, because once you see the athleticism that he shows as a run defender show up as a pass rusher, then I'll start to get the player that I know that he is.
Somebody runs for 250 yards against you. How do you determine who's at fault, what causes it, and then eventually how to stop it?
Well, you go back and we went back and we broke down all the runs and the style of runs that they came from. And, as we went back and you look at the tape, the option part of the game, we defended those very well against them. And the yardage, the big yardage came when he dropped back the pass and just took off and ran. That's when he got the extended yards on the run plays. And those are difficult to defend because there's 6 gaps remaining in the front. And because the backers are dropping in the coverage, there's only 4 D linemen covering those 6 gaps. And so he's the only quarterback that I know of in college football in pro football, that's willing to run in the middle of the field. So he wants to be in the middle of the field because he sees himself as a running back and he has the ability to take it to the house. Most quarterbacks want to get towards the sideline to help defend themselves. He wants to run in the middle of the field. So you could see, a lot of times when they had to have it, he would drop back to pass, plant his back foot, and take off in one of those open gaps. And so those were the explosive runs that happened in the course of the game. And so we play a guy like that, we have to find a way in situations to clog up as many of the gaps as we can to try to find a way to keep him in the pocket, which we did at the end of the game before the overtime. We clogged up all the gaps and kept him trapped in the pocket, and I think we hit him like 2 or 3 times towards the end of the game there. So, but that's where they came from, and we always study, break them down of, where was the problem, how do we fix the problem, and what style of run caused the issue.
Mentioned, excuse me, you'd never seen a game on either side of the ball where somebody had almost 100 snaps. You guys played that defensively. What were the unique aspects for you as a coach managing that through the game, and then also this week with the guys coming off of it?
Well, we played 5 quarters because we played the whole overtime period, so that played a part in it too. They went for it, I think, 4 times on 4th down, so that played a part in it too. And so we just got to do a better job of getting them off the field on something. We had a 3rd and I think it was a 3rd and 13 where they threw a receiver screen and he was able to get outside and get the first down. So, some of the 3rd downs we just got to do a better job of getting them off the field. But, I think it was 21 or 22 extra plays from the overtime period.
How do you see somebody like Everson handling that?
He was good during the game. I was constantly talking to him and, tried to do the best job I could to, manage the situation with both him and DJ. They both played a ton of plays. But once you get into the overtime period, it's every series is, it's on the line. So it's not like in the middle of the first quarter or the second quarter of the game. It's we got to stop them here or the game is over. So, you're putting your best guys out there in that situation.
Andre, what's the feeling among the defensive staff when Cam Bynum finds out the morning of and then makes a big play like the interception he got?
Well, it was great to see him do that. There wasn't a set of panic that set in. I mean, it's, a guy could go out there on the first play of the game and sprain his ankle and he's done. And the guy's got to go play. It's no different that whether it happened in the locker room right before the game or when we woke up in the morning at the hotel, it's no different than it happened on play one of the game. So the other guy has to go in and play and perform to the best of his ability. And, fortunately for Cam, we were kind of monitoring Harry's reps, last week. So he got a lot of reps in practice, and he did a good job of going out there and playing and made some good plays for us in the game. And again, hopefully he can build upon that too this week.
He seems to be like fairly, I guess he didn't seem to be too intimidated by the situation and seems to be a fairly even keel. Is that accurate, and how does that maybe help him as a young guy?
Yeah, he didn't seem to be, nervous or look like it was too big for him. I think for him it probably kind of helped that, he found out when he got on the bus that he was starting. So he had time to go in the locker room and get himself mentally prepared. Then when it's play 2 of the game and the guy gets hurt, you say, oh, get in there. You don't have time to prepare yourself that you're going to have to play the whole game. So I think that kind of helped him too, that when it happened, he had time to prepare himself mentally for what he needed to go out and do.
Tackle on Jackson when you pull him down and the ref said that's a violation. You can't do it. As a coach, I mean, does that piss you off or what?
Yeah, I wasn't too happy, especially when you saw him grab him right in the middle of the 8. The rule is the nameplate. Okay, if you catch the nameplate or the inside of the shoulder pad and pull down, that's the penalty, right? But if you catch him in the middle of his back, he's just like a regular runner, So that's why I didn't understand the call, and they made the call, so it is what it is at that time. But I mean, it was a great play by DJ to be able to go chase a fast guy down like that and pull him down and cause a fumble too. But I didn't see it as a horse collar, but the official did.
Andre, Bynum talked about how even when he had played corner, he really wanted to understand all the moving parts and how every defense worked. I mean, I guess what's the value in that when you have a player who wants to sort of see the whole picture?
Well, then you have a chance to have someone like Harrison Smith and Xavier. The X and Harry, they understand what the whole back end does. And, when you're a safety and you have an understanding of what the whole back end does, that helps you get guys lined up. That helps you understand how you can disguise the coverage to make it difficult on the quarterback too. So I think that's good that he sees it that way. He wants his game to grow that way because the safeties have a difficult job because they're also accounted in the run game at times too. So he has to understand where the D linemen are, where the backers are going to fit, and what extended gap that he would have to fill too. So that's good that he sees it that way because in the long run it's going to help him in his career.
Herbert, where do you start, or what do you emphasize given how much success he's already had in the league?
Well, he's a good quarterback. He's got a strong arm. He can make all the throws. He's a big kid, and for a big guy, he can move too. I think that's the thing that really kind of surprised me. For a big guy, he can move. So we have to do a good job of making him feel us up front. The D line has to do a good job of making him feel our presence, us getting him off the spot, making him uncomfortable. If he can sit back there in the rocking chair, then we're gonna have a long day because he can make every single throw. There's not a part of the field that he cannot get the ball to. Honestly, he kind of reminds me of a young Drew Bledsoe. When I see him, when I see him in his uniform and I see him throw the ball, it reminds me of Drew. No, Drew couldn't run like he can, but it just his body type, his mannerisms, the way he throws the ball reminds me of Drew.
All receivers are kind of in play when he's back there. It seems like he can look across the field.
Oh yeah, no, he knows he can read coverages. He knows where to go with the ball. I mean, this kid's got a bright future. I mean, he looks like an NFL quarterback looked, all the time when I first came into this league. He looks like one of those guys.
Have you seen any instances of how they've maybe gotten better at closing out games this year than maybe a couple of years prior when they might have lost those games?
San Diego? I mean,
LA.
LA?
Old habits die hard, right?
That's a tough question for me to answer because I haven't, looked at that part of it. I think the biggest thing that's happened is that the quarterback can make explosive plays. And so they've been able to get a lead and keep the lead, and then he's been able to bring them back in games because he has the ability to flip the field with his arm, and he has two big-time receivers that can make plays, and he has the ability to get them to them.
With a couple COVID cases popping up in the team since last week, has coaches needed to operate any differently? Are there any different protocols you guys have had to?
Yeah, well, I walked in with a mask on. We're all getting checked every day. So, so it's a little bit almost like it was last year. So we just got to make sure we're all safe.
You hold this together with all this controversy, injuries, COVID, illness, losing.
You just come to work and you grind. That's what you do. You come to work and you grind. I think, the guys on Monday, the guys today so far seem to be in a great place. We just had walkthrough. They were very focused and locked in and walked through. So we'll see how practice is. But I think they understand. This is a long journey. We've played 8 games? Is that right? 7 of the 8 came down to the last play of the game. We've played a bunch of really good football teams and stood toe-to-toe. So we just got to find a way to win a game. And then once you win a game, you win another one, and you start to stack them. And so you got to win the first one first before you can stack them. So I think the guys have a great understanding of that, and it's more about us and what we do more than it is about who we're going to play. And I think our players have a good understanding of that.